my own legislator said, I don't want to take the pedestal out from below my wife's feet. I worship her, and then voted against the Equal Rights Amendment.
The argument was that women were better off without the Equal Rights Amendment, that they needed to be taken care of.
The Equal Rights Amendment, for me, was my major work area during the 2 to 3 years that the Equal Rights Coalition existed, and that the legislature was considering the passage of the amendment, which I'd like to mention, just so we know, when we talk about the Equal Rights Amendment, you know what that's all about. Section 1 of the amendment says, equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. And then there's an enacting framework, but that's really the whole thing. It isn't about bathrooms, it isn't about women in the military, as our opponents mentioned. It's about rights, human rights for women. And I feel like what I learned, one of the things I learned at that time was that the personal really is the political.
Yes. It would be amazing to go to meetings on the Equal Rights Amendment and have all these women, just like the Me Too movement, pour out all these injustices that they received because of their sex, and how heartfelt they were.
I think the biggest thing for me that came out of the equal rights period was understanding discrimination. At the time we started on the Equal Rights Amendment work, I really didn't think I had ever been discriminated against. And by the end of that session, I knew a much fuller picture of the kind of discrimination. Some of it very blatant, some is very quiet, and not recognized necessarily as discrimination. But yes, it was there.
And I think people our age can still relate in their experiences times that they've been subtly discriminated against. And I always remember Irene saying in board meeting that after all, most women without the ERA were just one paycheck away from being on welfare because they didn't get equal pay, and most of them didn't.
And still don't.
And still don't. And it was a hard time, and it was dispiriting, but I think it probably made us all stronger, even though we kind of just gave up. And it's interesting to see that, the Equal Rights Amendment has been introduced in the Utah legislature the past 2 or 3 sessions, and it never gets out of rules. And I recall, Irene, one of the groups in the Equal Rights Coalition were nurses that were very, very active.
There was a special woman whose name I can't recall, I'm sorry, but at the time she was probably 80 years old, and it seemed to me, as a much younger woman, not facing the aging myself yet, but I enjoyed watching that little woman saying whatever she wanted to say to legislators, and they would politely listen.